Happy Friday, gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Better Late Than Pregnant official league fantasy baseball podcast with your host, manager of the 2017 Houston Astros, and more importantly, last year's champ, Ryan Delgado. Thank you all for joining me here today. I guess this may be a weekly podcast, may not be. It kind of sucks and feels awkward to do, so I don't know if we'll be doing this outside of this one time, but let's pretend like it's going to be a weekly segment. So I'm going to start things off with a nice little draft recap. Go for some reaches, go for some steals, kind of review the waiver wire, take a look at some predictions, and then we'll even get down into Scott's meltdown meter. So taking a look at the draft, nice little recap. Some reaches early. Clark with Trevor Bauer. I know he said he thinks he's going to be a Cy Young winner. I don't think that's going to happen. It'll probably cut off a finger playing with another drone, so a little reach there. Colin with Craig Kimbrell. Picked him in the 9th round, 8th round, somewhere around there. Not a bad pick, but there was definitely some guys who were actually on a team that could have been picked, so might have gone a little differently, but it looks like the Dodgers may be reaching for Kimbrell, or he's had some meetings with the Brewers. Who knows where that'll go. Scott picking Yu Darvish, because why would you pick Yu Darvish? Not a good track record. Don't trust really Asian pitchers long-term unless they're named Ohtani. And then Nick's non-nose with the Eloy Jimenez pick. Picked him kind of early. Hot prospect. We'll see how he turns out. Just signed an extension, but again, a guy not on a major league roster, so we'll see where that goes. Couple steals in the draft. Tom with Grandal. Great pick. Should have been a keeper. Not sure why anyone would let Grandal go. And again, Nick S. Nick's non-nose had a nice little pick with Mike Folty. Grabbed him in the 11th round. I remember seeing that one go and wishing I had picked him myself. So well done to those two. Bit of action on the waiver wires. We wrap up this first week, I guess, of the season. Nick's non-nose had to drop Betances. Big injury there. Mark grabbed Gio Gonzalez, which seems to have worked out. Gio signed a minor league contract with the Yankees, so that might be a benefit to Mark. But again, Mark also picked up Michael Kopech, guy who's got Tommy John. Probably won't be pitching this year, and we'll see what it goes next year. So unless you're planning a keeper on there, way to hold up a DL spot. Clark went out and grabbed Urias. Not a bad pick with the whole Dodgers situation. Kershaw going boom, Rich Hill hitting the DL. So Urias might be pretty good, but he also grabbed Jarrell Cotton, another guy. Tommy John, not going to be much use this season. Out on the waiver wire, there's two guys who have real quality DUIs in their past and could help your team. You have Sin-Soo Choo, excellent DUI with the Rangers a couple years ago, as well as Danny Duffy, one of the better DUIs recently. Got pulled over in a drive-through sleeping, trying to order some food. So those two can definitely help your team get arrested and open up a roster spot later down the line. Some big news, some great news if you're an Angels fan. Shout out Colin. Mike Trout, great extension, going to be an Angel for life. Scott thinks he's going to be invisible. I disagree because we're all talking about it. Other extensions out there, Chris Sale, 5 years, 145. Paul Goldschmidt signed an extension with the Cardinals, hitting at 130. Where else? Oh, and Blake Snell, another extension with the Rays, and then Eloy Jimenez. Nice little extension with the White Sox, but not sure why you'd give a guy who hasn't played a game that long of a deal. Some more injuries to note. Dylan Betances, he'll be starting the season on the DL, or IL, whatever they're calling it now. Nick's already dropped him and moved on. Rich Hill, again, hurt. How many games has he played for you Dodgers? Kershaw, broken back. We'll see when he gets running. A few more little nagging injuries as the season gets going. Angels have Andrew Heaney out. That's going to bring us to our next segment, which is called Scott's Meltdown Meter. We're going to do weekly segments where we're going to see where Scott is feeling with his team. Right now, we got Scott at about a 5.5 out of 10. If this was a terror threat, Scott would be code blue. He'd be guarded. He's got some good players with Nolan Arenado and Freddie Freeman. Those are going to be the backbone of his team and are going to need to produce if Scott wants to compete. Major question marks with Yu Darvish and Jose Quintana, two Cubs pitchers who haven't put it together the last season or so. And then just a big question mark where saves are going to come from for Scott. And then he's going to have to really rely on Ronald Acuna Jr. and Bregman as his two young guys. So we know Scott tends to put pressure on his young guys, so we'll see where Scott's meltdown meter is in a couple weeks, but I only expect that to go up, up, up. Taking a look now, I guess we'll wrap week one up with some predictions. We got Canseco versus Winner. Baseball is a summer sport, and winter's on its way out, so I'm just going to go with Canseco in this one. Second matchup of the week is Viva versus Hurricane. Viva's got Grandal on his team, and I don't want to bet against Grandal. Should have been a keeper, so I'm going to go with Viva on this one. Tacos versus La Flama. If I was an intelligent man, I'd definitely go with La Flama in this one. But I'm going to pick Tacos in this one because I want to see Scott's hopes get up and play with that meltdown meter a little bit. So we're going to pick Tacos in this one. Hope he gets off to a strong season before the wheels come off the bus. Brant BBBs versus LA A-holes. I'm going to go with Brant's BBBs in this one. Chris, when I first joined the league, started really well, won first like 6 out of 8 weeks. Then the wheels fell off the bus completely. Things went to shit, and I fully expect that to happen for you this season. So we're going to go with Brant BBBs early on, and I'm going to pick you for the first few weeks. About week 6, I'm going to start picking against you. That brings us to the Astros versus Clark. That's what she said. Clark's team is playing some non-real baseball right now in some foreign country, so he's up in the standings currently, but I fully expect the champ to come back and take that win. Clark, you're going down despite what you feel. Currently, I may give you saves, may give you one category. So that's going to wrap up week 1 of the podcast. Plan to get people on. We'll have Clark in for some legal advice. We'll get Mark and Tom in for some ballpark food reviews. Any players have kids throughout the season, we'll call on David, see how their fatigue levels are going to be. Colin, weekly jokes. We need to lighten the mood. It's a long season. Nick Chinese, we've never really talked, so maybe we'll just Skype you in so we can have a nice little session and get to know each other. Anyone else out there, let me know what your skills are. We'll try and find a brief time on the podcast for you. So thank you very much for joining me. Worst of luck this season. Champ's here. Champ out.